Metal Gear Solid on the original PlayStation was many gamers' first introduction to the Metal Gear series. Although it was the first in the Solid series of Metal Gear games, it was actually the third official Metal Gear game to be released, not counting Metal Gear on the NES, which is not considered canon. The first two Metal Gear games were the obviously named Metal Gear and Metal Gear Solid 2, Solid Snake, both released for the MSX2, a popular PC platform in Japan and Europe. But for the next game, Hideo Kojima, the series director, would be taking Metal Gear to a new platform. Kojima originally planned to create the third Metal Gear game for the 3DO Interactive Multiplayer, a short-lived console released in 1993. However, due to the declining support of the 3DO, development of the game moved to the PlayStation shortly after the 3DO version of Policenauts, another game from Kojima, was released. It was decided to name the new game in the Metal Gear series Metal Gear Solid. This was done because Kojima believed the first two MSX2 games weren't well known given their limited release in Japan and Europe. According to Kojima, the Solid in the title had three meanings. 1, a reference to Solid Snake, the game's main character. 2, the game's use of 3D graphics. And 3rd, Konami's rivalry with Square, another Japanese-based game developer. 3D games were still a relatively new phenomenon when Metal Gear Solid was in development, so in order to get their heads around the 3D game design, the game's developers built many of the levels out of Legos beforehand. Metal Gear Solid began its development in 1995 with the simple goal of creating the best PlayStation game ever. The developers aimed for accuracy and realism, while also making the game enjoyable and tense. In the early stages of development, a SWAT team was brought in to demonstrate proper uses of vehicles, weapons, and explosives. Kojima stated that if the player wasn't tricked into believing that the world was real, then there was no point in making the game at all. To achieve this, adjustments were made to every detail. Just one example is individually designed desks around the facility to help bring the world to life. Kojima also wanted greater interaction with objects and the environment, such as allowing players to hide bodies in storage compartments. He also wanted the experience of a full orchestra right next to the player, a system that would make modifications to the current music track instead of just switching to another pre-recorded one. Although these features could not be achieved at the time, these ideas would later be implemented into Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Metal Gear Solid was revealed to the public at E3 1997 and was playable for the first time at the Tokyo Game Show the following year. The game was officially released September 3rd, 1998 in Japan and October 21st, 1998 in North America. The game was a commercial success, selling over 6 million copies worldwide. It was obviously well received by gamers given its sales figures, but was also praised by many critics for its movie-style cinematics, which were not standard at the time. Although it was praised for some aspects, it was also criticized for others, many saying the game was too short, its frame rate was inconsistent, and that its codec conversations could be too frequent in the beginning, needlessly interrupting the game. Little did they know this would probably be the most tame of the Metal Gear Solid series when it came to cinematics and dialogue. Many credit Metal Gear Solid with popularizing the stealth game genre, the idea of the player having to avoid enemies rather than fighting them, and this has been featured in many games since. In 2002, IGN ranked Metal Gear Solid as the best PlayStation game ever made. So according to IGN and many gamers around the world, Metal Gear Solid achieved its initial goal of being the best PlayStation game ever made. The English version of Metal Gear Solid contains minor refinements made during localization. An adjustable difficulty setting was added, as well as a bonus tuxedo outfit for Snake, and a demo theater for viewing cutscenes and radio conversations. A second edition of the game was released in Japan on June 25th, 1999, called Metal Gear Solid Integral, which was an expanded version of the original game based on the North American localization. In addition to the North American changes, there was an alternate sneaking suit for Meryl, a red-colored ninja, a very easy difficulty setting, new codec frequencies with staff commentary, hidden music, a first-person view mode, and a Pocket Station minigame. Special features included trailers for Metal Gear Solid, preview artwork of Metal Gear Ray from Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and a photo shoot mode to take pictures of Mei Ling and Naomi. A similar photoshoot feature could be found in Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, as well. A PC port of Integral was also released in Europe and North America in late 2000. The game was criticized for graphical glitches and the aged nature of the port. A remake of Metal Gear Solid was made exclusively for the Nintendo GameCube called Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. It was developed by Silicon Knights, the same developer behind another popular GameCube exclusive, Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. While Twin Snakes was developed by Silicon Knights, its cutscenes were developed by Konami and directed by Japanese film director Ryuhei Kitamura. Ryuhei's signature style can be seen in the game's cutscenes, extensively featuring bullet-time photography and choreographed gunplay, while the storyline and settings of the game were for the most part unaltered. A variety of gameplay features from Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty were added, such as first-person aiming and hanging from railings. Another change in the English voice acting was the removal of Mei Ling, Naomi, and Natasha's accents, and the voice of Gray Fox was changed from Greg Eagles to Rob Paulson, but Greg still reprises his role as the DARPA chief. The game's visuals were also updated to match those of Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. The Twin Snakes was originally to be released in November 2003, but was delayed to a release date of March 9th, 2004 in North America. In Japan, the Twin Snakes was released on March 11th with an exclusive premium package. The box includes the game, a Platinum GameCube with the Foxhound logo, and a 44-page book containing production notes, sketches, and photos. A special disc was also included containing an emulated version of the original Metal Gear. Upon the game's release, it was praised for its improved gameplay, graphics, and also its faithful retelling of the original Metal Gear storyline. The game also drew criticism of an inconsistent frame rate, and the added gameplay elements from Metal Gear Solid 2 were called unnecessary. Despite these criticisms, the Twin Snakes is still considered one of the top games in the GameCube's library. Also, it has never been released for another platform, making the GameCube home to the only Metal Gear Solid remake. Well, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed these videos, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more gaming news, facts, and information.